Any advice and information from this podcast is general only. It has been prepared without taking into account your individual circumstances and needs. Before acting on any advice from this podcast, you should assess and seek advice on whether it is appropriate for your needs, financial situation, and investment objectives. Drum roll, please, ladies and gentlemen, because we are back on...
Not another finance podcast. I remember this time.
Well done. You remembered. That's well done. Back by popular demand. As usual, our viewer group, listening group keeps growing. We are now into the tens of millions. So due to popular demand, people wanted to make sure that we are maybe the real deal or real people, not AI. So all are to all. We thought we'd record a few just to get our ugly mugs in. I've had a heap of makeup, didn't fix much, but J-Mac's still doing her thing. Be prepared now that everyone will see me fidget a lot and kind of run around.
Yes, we're on video now.
Yeah, we're on video. So it's too legit to quit, but we're on the journey. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, we are still on, as per our Not Another Finance podcast, we are still on the investment journey.
Yes.
So this episode and maybe a couple others, we are talking about and are going to deep dive into benefits and considerations of negative gearing, specifically talking about property. It's something we come across a fair bit. I've experienced it. I think Jessie's got a heap of experience with the clients that she sees. I guess that's part of our job as financial advisors. If it's in your sort of asset portfolio, we kind of go through the numbers. By all means, we do not sort of outline to clients, hey, get rid of it, or, you should have bought in this suburb instead of this suburb. We just sort of outline the facts of what it looks like cash flow wise, potential sort of capital growth, taxation considerations.
Yeah.
We definitely just try and outline the facts, point you in the right direction, and just help you fit that property in with the rest of your wealth planning and strategy, so on and so on.
Yeah.
So remember, I'm pretty sure there was a general advice, a disclaimer at the start, but this is definitely that. We're definitely not going to mention, hey, you should buy in this suburb because it's cranking hot. You should get a loan through this bank because they're dirty cheap.
Yeah.
We definitely have some good real estate agents to spruik, but that can be a story for another time. Watch this space or listen to this space. So, Jessie, obviously, as I mentioned, we've got dozens of clients that have got investment portfolios with real estate built into that. Some of them, once you have a look at the numbers, some are good, some not so good.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yep.
Yeah, and so, we can see a few people and obviously try and help them, I guess, alleviate some anguish because they are hemorrhaging cash flow due to their negatively geared. Oh, people just saw me do the late, whatever that indentation thing is.
Yeah.
This whole negative gearing thing. Look, it may work for some people, but it is definitely not the same story for every individual or couple out there. So we'll definitely highlight a few things. And by all means, if you've got questions or queries after you've listened to this, email through, give us a call. Happy to have a chat. Could even do a guest appearance. Happy to have some real estate developers give us a call and spruik their wares. Not that I'll try and debunk it. I might, because I've definitely seen a few clients come through that have been sold the dream and it isn't quite working out. So, but we'll get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. J-Mac.
Yes.
Negative gearing. What is this magical negative gearing that everyone on Insta talks about? How it sends you only on one trajectory to wealth creation. What is it?
Yeah, it's such a hot topic, isn't it? You hear it at, again, the barbecues. Oh, yeah, get a negatively geared property. Rely on maybe the growth in the long term. It's nothing but sunshine and butterflies.
You get all your tax back, right? This is the negative gearing. You get, oh yeah, I'm losing 10 grand a year in cash flow, but I get all that back. Not quite.
No.
As I said, not doom and gloom, but we'll definitely sort of we'll get into it. So pretty much negative gearing, long story short, it lets you, or it gives you a tax deduction on an income producing asset if it's running at a loss. So long story short, if you've got a investment property, you're earning $90 a week from it, but it's costing you $100 a week to maintain and hold the property through all the various sort of fees and expenses we've talked about. That is essentially a negative cash flow, which means once you go to do your tax return, that property will be negative geared.
So that $10 I'm losing each week.
Yep, is
Okay.
coming off. Here you go.
Yep. So I can get some tax back on that. Can I get all of it back?
Oh, apparently, through everyone that tells us, it essentially, good question, J-Mark, it essentially comes down to your marginal tax rate or your tax bracket. You know, if you're sitting in between that, I think the tax bracket's about 45 grand to 130 grand, you're sitting in that 32% tax bracket, give or take. I probably should have a look right now. You're only getting your marginal tax rate back. You're not getting all of it back. So there's, you know.
So I only get $3 of that $10 I've lost a week.
Give or take, yeah. So, you know, that's sort of what, long story short, what negative gearing kind of is. Look at it, there's some the pros and cons in there, but more so, I guess the other sort of debunk we'll mention is it's not really a strategy. Yes, investing in real estate is part of a strategy, but the negative gearing bit is more so, I think of it as a little bit of a sweetener, just a little bit of relief from the ATO or the government.
Yep.
And it's unique because Australia, I'm pretty sure, is one of the only countries that offers it. So, you know, I guess I liken it to, in a cash flow wise, can you imagine if your multinational global corporations out there year on year ran at a negative cash flow? Like, would they be sustainable? How much money can they borrow to stay afloat? How long can that go on for? Similar to your mums and dads or your 25-year-old miner or, professional athlete or high income earner. At the end of the day, how long do you want to go on for running that place, that property as a negative cash flow? And will it pay dividends when you sell?
But I thought all investment properties would make me a lot of money.
Potentially,
but
not quite. There's your good stories and your bad stories. That's, I guess, another story, another rabbit hole we could chase down. When you bought, when you sold, what you paid for it, what your expenses were, how much you borrowed. Did the tenants pay rent every week, or did they decide to just, I haven't got money for a couple of months and stump it back on the owner? So there's all these variables that affect, I guess, the cash flow and the viability of your investment property.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like when people have an investment property and you go through, what repayments are you making? How much is rates, insurance? Have you had to do any renos this year? And you can kind of see all those expenses add up, which contribute to, I guess, it being negatively geared or losing money each year.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to stand back and have a look at it overall and seeing how it's doing. So imagine having an investment property, you'd get dug into like, I'm getting this rent per week. It's making me a lot of money.
True. It sounds good when all the rent's coming in, but once you get into the nitty gritty, it's probably a lesson I learned in my early 20s, mid-20s, had my first investment property, kind of generalize the income and the costs, but not with a bit more detail. And then you started to feel the effects of a negative cash flow month on month. And that definitely starts to compound when your life changes, whether it's kids come on board, your income reduces because you change careers, or the spouse has taken time off because they're on mat leave and you're down to one income, and all these things come into it and they add pressure. At the end of the day, I guess you're trying to build your wealth, and that's a good way to go about it, buying into an asset that's going to produce some income, but what will it take to get there to produce a positive cash flow? So, but yeah, you are right. Essentially with negative gearing, there is some tax benefits. The costs associated with holding that property, you can claim as a tax deduction, as J-Mac sort of mentioned. Interest paid on the home loan, not because not many people can go out there and bankroll a 500 grand investment property straight off the bat. They've got to borrow from the bank. Evil necessity, banks have got to get their cut of the pie as well. Your rates, pesky agent fees, your insurances. Oh, look, the aircon broke. All these things will come out of someone's pocket, and you as the owner, that sort of comes down to you. But the government, the ATO will give you a bit of a tax sort of relief on that one. So now that we've sort of outlined kind of what it is, surely there's some pros of negative gearing. Might as well start with the positives of negative gearing. Like, why do people do it? We're talking about, it's you're hemorrhaging cash flow or there's more money going out than coming in. But
Yep.
surely there's some benefits of this or positives. What are they, J-Mac?
Yeah, I guess we see a lot of people with high net wealth and maybe they're trying to reduce their tax.
I've heard that a bit. Does that come from the accountant? Is that something you mention to your clients? Like, hey, you're making 300 grand a year. Maybe you should buy an investment property and negatively gear it.
Not exactly. There's
What?
a lot of other tax things that you can do.
All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, I guess people, maybe I've seen some property businesses kind of
Like
do
development
an outlay.
companies?
Yeah, they kind of list, okay, the property's negatively geared. You're getting tax back for, say, 10 years.
Yep.
And at 10 years, you sell, the property's grown, from whatever it is, 700,000 to 1.2 million in their estimates. And
Damn.
you sell it
Yep.
at a higher rate. And, the profits over 10 years are kind of worth it, even though
Yep.
you're paying extra, but you're getting tax back.
Yep.
So that's what I've kind of seen things like that presented to.
Definitely seen that with clients.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough with a few clients. They've talked about, hey, they've been contacted or have had discussions with property developers that spruik that goal, that whole, hey, we do all the legwork, we do all the research, our software produces all this data that shows where the next hottest real estate location to buy is. 100%. That is out there, and that is a definite sort of fact. They'll deliver it to whether it's you, mum and dad, 20-year-old, 25-year-old, athlete, doctor, engineer, in a beautiful, shiny brochure, and they will definitely outline the key things. I guess what I've found, and it's definitely something we should outline, nothing against all the property developers, but they're definitely out there. The way they make their money, I guess, is to sell you or bring you on board to buy their investment or their property because there's a commission there. They're not really obliged to have your best interests at heart. Have they really had a chat to you about what your goal is, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, what your sort of budgeting background is? I guess, they're looking at getting the deal over the line to get you on that kind of property dream journey. Could be good, could be bad, but that you're right, sort of on there are some pros to it. It's letting you, gives you a little bit of a tax relief for an asset that's sort of costing you more money, or more money's going out than coming in. And yes, the potential's there for capital growth, as you mentioned. Like, that's the dream, I guess. You're going to spend a heap of money on a property. You're going to go pretty deep in some debt, which is usually the case when you're buying property, especially when you're negatively geared, on the premise that in the long term it will turn or it will grow in capital growth.
And it's been interesting to see Townsville, like the last few years you've seen, they buy pre-COVID.
Yep.
And now their property's almost doubled in value because of all the
Seen a heap.
craziness.
Yep.
So that could be a pro, but it's not something you can kind of predict, I guess. You can't tell if COVID 2.0 is going to come or...
True. Or the
what's
next
gonna
GFC.
happen.
I was definitely around for that.
GFC.
You were probably definitely way too young for the GFC, but anyway. But that's definitely the case. With that side of it, the whole East Coast and maybe most of Australia's experienced a capital growth boom. I feel bad for all the people trying to get in for their first, buying their first property, because real estate is going. Wait, I'll make a Arnie. Is that a Usain Bolt thing? Is going on an upward trajectory. But like all things, long-term investment, there is no guarantee that it will continue on that trajectory forever and a day. There will be a period where it plateaus, and then there is some depreciation or some negative capital growth. Townsville definitely has felt that over the decades. Other suburbs and cities have, so there's no promise. It's the exact same as the share market. There's no promises on that one.
Yeah.
So true. Long story short, potentials are, it lets you it helps ease the cash flow with a bit of a tax rebate, because the potential gains can be magnified on a property. You're not buying something for $5,000. You're buying a property for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. So if that makes, I think you did the research as you usually do. Townsville the last 10 years has averaged
on average over the last 10 years about 5.75%.
5.75 as an average. So, you're thinking, well, my $500,000 house, That's gone up a fair bit compared to, say, if I'd bought a $10,000 share portfolio. Yep, let's just say it did the same. Depends on what fund or what shares you bought. But as an average for real estate, it's helped you magnify the gains there.
And sorry, that's a suburb in Townsville. Sorry, not all of Townsville.
Okay, yeah. So I think we were talking about Birdell was sort of our pick, wasn't it? It's
Yeah.
It's a suburb on the northern fringes of Townsville. It's booming. It's got private school, public school, shopping centres, Bunnings, all that kind of stuff, and it's definitely growing out that way. What are some of the cons, I guess, the negatives of negative gearing?
Yeah, I guess we kind of touched on it. If your property's negatively geared, then you're essentially losing money year to year. So
How long will that go on for? Like some of the what are the general variables of that? Like if I get a 30-year loan and I hold on to the sucker for 30 years, am I going to be negative for the whole time?
Possibly not. The biggest expense, I guess, that you have is the repayments. So if you maybe after 15, 20 years have paid off the house,
yep,
that reduces a ton of your expenses. So you may then turn to become positively geared.
Cool. But it's all, let's just say I bought off a shiny, glossy magazine development company, buy this house,
Ooh.
you know, yes, first 10 years paying a heap of interest because the loan's quite new. Let's just say, as you mentioned, you hold it for 15, 20 years. Potentially you pay off the property as a general outline. But I guess then, yes, my interest expenses have dropped, but that's a 20-year house now that's possibly had 10 tenants in it.
Yep.
Kids, dogs, dented walls, busted aircon, especially in Townsville. Everyone's favourite is aircons because of how much, there's probably 4 or 5 months of the year that, people flog those things 24/7. They bust out, irrigation, all these things. So I guess interest expenses have dropped, but the capital I need to inject to maintain my property is starting to go on increase. Beautiful house, brand new. 20 years later, wear and tear. Wear and tear is a real thing. Think of it like a car. Use it every day. It needs servicing.
Yep.
It needs maintenance. If you let that go, it's going to cost you.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And I guess some of the other ones, there are potential losses that could happen with the property depending on, everything's case by case. But when you buy and when you sell or when you need to sell, what happens if you bought now in your mid-20s, single, no kids, no expenses, life's good. All you got to do is come up with beer money and footy money at the end of the weekend and some travel to Vegas money. Fast forward 10 years or maybe fast forward 5 years, it's still negatively geared. But now you've got a spouse, you've got 2 kids, they're going to daycare.
Yeah.
Daycare ain't cheap.
No.
Regardless of which sort of government gets in parliament. You've had to buy a bigger car. The spouse has had to have time off for maternity leave. You're tossing up whether you're thinking of doing a career change, which might mean income takes a hit for a year or two while you change careers, which is something we see a bit with clients. Is that sort of right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that negative geared property with X amount of dollars walking out the door every week or month is starting to impact your household budget.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very true.
And
Circumstances can definitely change.
Yeah, and you've no doubt talked to clients on, well, hey, this is costing you $300 a week. You've got to survive till you do your tax return to get some of that money back.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, you're still paying all these bills. Kids have got to eat, daycare, like all those things. And we've seen the real stresses that takes on people. So that's the bit I suppose you don't get in the glossy magazine, which we sort of have to go through. But good news is, I don't know, watch out, spruik hit. If you come see us, we'll definitely hold your hand. I might give you a cuddle, Jessie maybe as well, and sort of help you through it. But okay, so that's some of the other considerations there, like those household changes that you just need to maybe be considerate of in the future. All well and good for this year. Yep, here's my plan. I'm going to be rich and financially independent by 40, 45. But in between 25 and 45, things can change.
And can I add one more con? When you're, like you said, in your mid-20s going to Vegas or whatever, and 10 years later,
Those
maybe
are the days.
35.
Anyway. Yeah.
we'll hear more on Yannick's Vegas trips later.
Yeah, never been, but anyway, yeah.
You know, when you get to 35, 10 years later, maybe you do have, lots of bills coming in.
Yep.
One of you's not working, kids, and you're kind of forced to sell because you're in that situation. Murphy's Law, maybe the market's down and you've relied on, the capital gain, so the property growing in value each year.
Yep.
Maybe you have to sell because of all your bills and everything. So then, where's your profit in the property, in the investment property over the long term?
Yep. Yeah, okay. So look, on that, there is a little bit of a sweetener. Long story short, if you have to sell, whether it's property or shares at a loss, the good news is the ATO will help you out a little bit with a thing called a carry forward loss. So if you bought your investment property for 500 grand, you had to sell it for 400 grand, you've taken 100 grand hit as easy maths. That 100 grand you can essentially carry forward with no expiry date and offset any other capital gains in the future. So, if you, down the track, you do the real estate thing again, you make $100,000, you can use that $100,000 that you lost to offset the new gain. But that's sort of, I think we've touched on it before, but it's a
good
small
point.
sweetener, but it sort of helps with some people. All right. When have you seen when negative gearing sort of works best? Is this sort of what's the, is it flip and rip? No, I don't know. I just made that up. I'm going to trademark that. Is that a saying out there? Yeah. Is it something, is it more beneficial if you're just looking to turn properties over every couple of years or, in property investment? That's more of a long-term thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some success with clients where they've bought just before COVID and have sold recently. So everyone knows the huge amount of growth that's been in properties in places such as Townsville.
Yep.
So I've seen some success in people, their properties, doubling, but they haven't kind of planned that. It's just kind of happened. So that's a big positive.
Yep.
Selling for double what your house was worth, I think. That's not too bad.
That's a win. Yep.
Yeah. Even if it's negatively geared along, those 5 years, then hopefully you'd make your money back. Plus more, possibly.
Oh, I suppose we haven't talked about the whole buying costs and selling costs.
Yeah.
Stamp duty, state revenue,
capital gains tax,
solicitor fees, bank fees. Then when you sell it, agents got to get their cut of the pie.
Yeah.
And that can all be built into the maths of the buying, holding, and selling of property. All right, so that sort of answers that one. What
do you reckon Townsville's done in the long term?
As in percentage-wise?
How much has it grown? How did it look before COVID and how is it looking post-COVID?
There were definitely periods there where you couldn't give houses away, sort of as a rough outline, depending on what suburb.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the last sort of 2 years, 18 months to 24 months, especially with the clients we've seen, they have seen the capital growth in their property through the roof. So you might just have a regular couple, 40s or 50s. They bought a house, just a regular house for $300,000-$400,000, just a modest house. That's what they could afford. And all of a sudden they could sell that for $600,000-$700,000. And then I guess when we see them we've got our worth has gone up an extra $300,000 just because we've held a property for some people. I'm seeing nearly double in some that have held their house for 3 years, which is pretty exponential.
Yep.
But it's all relative, I suppose, especially when they're talking about, hey, we want to upgrade our house, love Townsville. Sweet. You're going to sell, you're going to make buku profit. That's great, but you want to buy again. And if you want to upgrade your house, it's all relative. You're going to pay there. So
you're going to sell high but also buy high.
Yeah, so it's kind of all relative, and that means maybe slipping into more debt. There's a few other things, especially with the investment side. I guess what we can mention to sort of close off this little intro part is it's an investment decision. It's a big one, as we mentioned, comparing it to, I don't know, whether you put money in a savings account or you go out and, I don't know, buy some shares or manage funds or ETFs or whatever. Property, you can't just dip your toe in and buy $500 worth, $1,000, $10,000.
Yeah, true.
You've got to go out, and unless you've got 3, 4, 5, 600 grand sitting in the bank. You're going to have to borrow some money, pay some fees, put more than your toe in. I won't use the vernacular of going dipping whatever in, but it'll cost you a bit. And with that comes additional costs. And I guess you're on that bumpy road. If you ask 100 property investors out there, mums and dads, high net worth earners, whatever, how many of them have had a dream run with their tenants and their costs and their income? Less than half will give you the perfect story of tenant every week, paid on the dollar.
Yeah.
House never broke down. Fans, irrigation, aircon, paint, fixtures, plumbing, that all stayed rock solid.
Yeah.
That is the minority of cases. So just be cognizant of that when you're sort of thinking about it. I guess the other big one is, doing your own research. Yep.
For sure.
A lot of people these days are time poor, even though technology sort of helped us, I guess. You might need to do your own research and light reading, aside from what might be provided to you by a real estate agent or a development salesman or consultant or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Jay, mate, I think we've opened the can of worms. We definitely haven't finished on it.
Yep.
So I think we're going to have to come back and go down to, say, part 2 of this whole negative gearing thing.
We'll be back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen and listeners, stay tuned. We will be back. Ciao.
Bye.